Keeping up with expiring leases in a portfolio can be a challenge, but Prophia has made it easier with new updates to our tenant status feature. You already know how to use our expired lease manager for leases that have already expired, but what about changes to leases that haven't expired yet? Prophia now gives you the ability to set tenant statuses ahead of time. Let's say that this tenant has given notice that they will not be renewing their lease after its current expiration. Rather than setting a reminder or waiting for this tenant to show up in your expired lease manager, you can now make future changes to their status. To do this, click on the Edit button next to Lease Status. You'll be taken to a menu that will allow you to assign a new status as of a future date. This lease is currently listed as active, but with this example, we know that they won't be renewing after expiration. So we'll click on the drop-down and choose Schedule Tenant Vacancy. You can assign a vacancy date, or you can just use the date after expiration, which is the easiest option in this case. After clicking Submit, you'll see a banner at the top of the lease summary indicating that you've scheduled a vacancy date for this tenant. And as of the date you specified, they will automatically be marked as vacated, and you won't need to take any further action. If something changes and you want to remove this status, you can always go back to the Tenant Status Scheduler and choose Active. This will restore the lease to its original state. Aside from scheduling a vacancy at the end of the lease, there are a few other options for adjusting a tenant's status. If the tenant has already vacated and terminated their lease early, you can choose Tenant Has Vacated. Similarly, if they've switched over to month, or holdover, or they've decided to extend the lease, you can also make those changes in this menu. Lastly, if you know ahead of time that a tenant will switch to month or holdover status at the end of their lease, you can schedule those statuses from the menu in the same way we scheduled their vacancy. This wraps up our tutorial on adjusting tenant statuses. As always, if you have any questions, please email support@prophia.com or reach out to your customer success manager.